Hey guys, welcome back to Google Slides Part 2. So, more quick hacks and tips. So, yeah, in this lesson, we're going to learn about some new topics here about adding outlines to text word art. Now, we know word art is not fully covered and utilized most of the time, so we want to show you guys here how you can use it. So, that's one of the things. So, that's under word art here, which we will have under word art. Right. Now, other than that, we're also going to be exploring how to use the shift key when resizing objects and also alignments about distributing your features in Excel. So this is pretty important when you're designing slides in Excel using a lot of shapes, a lot of images, or a lot of pictures. And last but not least, how do you force copy a slide with the URL modification so that you can easily duplicate your slide among your colleagues if you're working, among other friends who just want a copy of your template so they can use it for their own use. Last but not least, also crop and resize an image to shape. So it's going to be pretty interesting. So let's begin and dive in. So the first one we're going to begin with is basically inserting a word art. I'm going to click on word art right now, and I'm going to type the word Google Slides. Okay. Now, if you want two lines, you can press Shift Enter. It will basically have the words in two lines. But in this case, since I want it in one line, I'm just going to put it back up here, Google Slides, and then after I'm done, I'm just going to press Enter without the shift. There we go. Now Google Slides has appeared, and then you can see now it's pretty big. Now, the good thing about having font text like this design is you can adjust the thickness of the outline. Now, I can change the outline to 3, 2, or even 1, or basically make it disappear by saying no outline, so that it's just plain, right? So I'm going to choose black instead, and I'm going to go back to maybe 3 pixels, so we can actually see how big the slide is. Now, for the colors, I can change accordingly by just choosing on the solid fields and whatever color I want. I can also choose gradient in this case and allow the Google Slides to have a little bit more pop of color, right? So we're talking about some transition from maybe dark black or light gray to dark black. I can also choose custom where I can actually add my own color. So can I choose linear or radial? So in this case, I want linear at a 90-degree angle. I want to start with a pink color, and then I'm going to click add another color whereby from here I'm going to choose green, and that green over here is going to be down here. So as you can see here, I can adjust the colors for where the pink begins and where the green begins. So I can click add one more time, and now I have two gradient colors that I can choose from. Right, from here I can click add, and there we go. I have now three gradient colors to choose from. But this is on the green side. So if I'm going back to my pink earlier, here I can add another color, and then here I can readjust this to pink. So what I'm going to do now is each of these color codes has its own. The beginning was pink. I can also change this, let's say, to a blue. So now we got blue, green, and pink. Now I know it's quite horrendous. However, I can also change the angle of this to see which direction I want it to be highlighted from. So in this case, I want 180 degrees. Click OK, and there we go. So our Google Slides now look a bit more exciting than the current old one. So I'm just going to delete that part, and then I'm just going to bring this down. There we go. Now, isn't that more interesting? Now, aside from this, under the format options, you have other options like drop shadow, where you can actually allow a shadow in its background. Now, I'm just going to try and distance the shadow a bit. There you go. So you can see there is actually a shadow, and I can actually set a certain blur radius. So let's just bring it back in a bit, and let's not make the shadow too obvious, a bit light, and there we go. Looks snazzy, right? Last but not least, I can also choose a reflection on this Google Slides as well, and change the opacity. So there we go. Now the distance of this, I can put it really close, and I can even change the size of the reflection. So I can like, put it really big. All right, we're about there, halfway in. So right now, my slides look really snazzy. I've got the word art text with outline and also some effects planted into it. All right, last but not least, if you notice when I resize this object, I actually make it warp, right? If I don't use a certain shift key. So to make sure that I resize object that does not change its shape, I'm going to press my shift key, all right? While pressing it down, now resizing Google Slides it resizes to a certain ratio. So ratios are good. So I'm going to copy this and duplicate just a few more times to just show you by ratio, you can tell that the Google Slides resizing is basically same height and same width in all of this tree. All right, it doesn't actually run out from that shape. All right, whereas without pressing the shift key, if I were to resize this, I can actually squint this up or even squeeze it in terms of its height. So there you go. I'm going to use a shape instead, so this will make it more obvious. I'm going to enter a new slide for this example to work, and I'm going to change this layout to nothing, which is blank. So there we go. So I'm drawing a simple shape here, for example, a square. Now I'm just drawing by my eyeballing it. There we go. Okay, I think that's a square. I think so. But if you were to draw an actual square, what you want to do is you're going to press the shift button, click your mouse and draw. You'll notice that my width and height are always locked in. Now this is a square. So if I were to compare this to side by side, let's just bring this above, order, bring forward, you will notice that the shape in front and behind is not identical. So this is by ratio of shift and this is not. So it helps a lot as well when you have other shapes, like for example, circles, right? Drawing it randomly might not get the exact circle that you want, but if you were to draw a circle with the shift button press shift and draw, and then you will have a perfect circle. So there we go. Here are some quick tips about duplicating your objects you've drawn. Now, assuming if I want this circle duplicated, I can actually press the control on my keyboard once and not release it, and then click on this shape and drag it out. Now, what it's going to do, it's going to duplicate that shape and then create this new shape, which is a copy. So it's much quicker than you can just right clicking copy and then pasting it, because you'll need to still readjust the shape. But if you just want to duplicate shapes real quick, you can actually select all shapes, press control and drag it down. You can duplicate another myriad of shapes together. So this helps a lot when you're duplicating shapes. Okay, let's talk about alignments and distribution. So I'm going to duplicate this slide where we have all these shapes already. Okay, and I'm going to clear everything except one little circle, and I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to resize this circle a little bit smaller, and now I'm going to do a simple tool trick, which is called copy, and I'm going to paste it 3 times with my mouse. Right click, paste, and the rest I'm going to paste with my keyboard, which is Control V, another 3 or 4 times. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe one more. I think one more will be fine. So that'll be 7. So now we have exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 circles. That's great. Now check this out. I'm going to distribute the circles among this height here. Now, you do know when you move things around, there is this guide grid that tells you if your shape is actually in the middle of any specific shape. So in this case, I'm just going to put it here by eyeballing it. Doesn't really matter. And what I want to do is I want to select all of these shapes, and I'm going to click arrange, and I'm going to say align left. Now, when I align left, it's going to follow the highest object in my selection. And then I'm going to click arrange one more time, and I'm going to go to distribute and say vertical. So right now all of my circles are distributed vertically. All right, so this is a perfect distribution. All right, now if I were to distribute this horizontally, let's undo a few more steps and let's see how we can do that. From here, I will click here and go all the way here. Now select all of my shapes again one more time. I'm going to click arrange this time and align it to the top. So by aligning it to the top, I want to see that you can see the difference where which is the top layer. So to just note that difference, I'm going to move this slightly higher, right about touching that outline of our slide right there, so that you can tell which is the top when I do align it. So I'm going to click arrange again, align, and I'm going to choose top. Now when I choose top, you see that they follow this shape, which is the highest point. Now finally, I'm going to distribute them this time, but not vertically. I'm going to choose horizontally, so it goes across. So now by doing so, each shape is basically in the same distance of range from the other shape. So this is how you can do quick arrangements with your alignment tools. Here's a quick tip and then another trick. Ding ding! Now, besides just doing all of these shapes alignment and arrangement, I can click on this shape right here and even go all the way across. And by doing so, I can distribute this like horizontally, then arrange one more time and distribute vertically. Now this allows my shape to actually go across. Now it might not seem like it, but it's actually really a straight line. Now to prove it, I'm going to insert a simple line, and I'm going to draw it from here and go all the way here. So from this point to this point, you can tell that actually this is actually well distributed line across my slide. All right. In the next topic here, we're going to talk about copying slides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize my browser a little bit. There we go, right in the middle. Now, all of your links right at the end here, you have the edit behind the slide list. And what I'm going to do over here is instead of putting anything else behind, I'm going to put the word copy, C-O-P-Y, and I'm going to basically select all of this link. And assuming that my friend who is a colleague of mine wants a copy of my slide, I can give them this link with the copy inside it. So let me just zoom in so you can see it. Okay, paste this link in, just like that. And you want to make sure you remove the edit at the back and everything else and just put copy. So once you're done, you just basically hit enter. And what it'll do is it'll ask you, do you want to copy this document? Then you can choose to make a copy. And should I choose to make a copy, it's going to make a copy of that current slides in my current Google Drive. And there we go. This is another copy of the slides. So this was the original copy and this was a duplicated copy. So that's how you can create a copy slide real quick. So you don't have to, go file, make a copy and do all of those things. You can just give the link to your friends. Now, bear in mind, by doing so, you need to actually click share and make sure that the access is not set to restricted. It must be anyone with link and at least set to a viewer. Otherwise, they'll not be able to copy your slides. All right. All right, done. Next, copy and resize image to shape. Now, that one, I'm going to create a new slide here. There we go. And we're going to insert an image. All right, so for copying and resizing an image to shape, it's pretty easy. So I'm just going to click here on search the web for images. There we go. And we can search maybe eagle. Let's see. There we go. That's a nice eagle right there. I'm going to choose this guy here and I'm going to click insert. Now, once the eagle's inserted, what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize the eagle here, and I'm going to choose the crop selection tool, which is right here, mask image, and I can choose specific shapes. So let's look for a star shape, perhaps. There we go. Now my eagle's in a star shape, and I can resize the shape accordingly, and even resize the picture inside. Now I know that some would say, "Hey, the eagle inside the face is cut off." No big deal. So what we can do is we can actually resize the image by double clicking on this and the crop selection tools will actually appear. Now I can actually resize my star and adjust where also the bird should be. And if I want it right there, just nice, there you go. Make sure it touches the top as well. So we want to cover everything. And once satisfied, just press enter and there we go. So now we can see the eagle's face at least and also within the shape. Now, should you get bored or you don't want this shape anymore to be used, you can just go to call out shapes and choose other shapes. For example, this shape or maybe a diamond shape or even simple things like arrow shapes. There. So that's how we do it. So all of these right now are basically what we can do in your Google Slides. So I hope you have fun learning about these quick tips and hacks and you apply them when you need to do certain things like maybe aesthetic aspects of your slide. And if you do like my videos, do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. Cheers.